Okay, some extra tips for engineers and folks in technology that are highly technical or engineering oriented folks, okay? Many of you fear and say, if I don't have all the answers, what's going to happen in the interview process, okay? I just did a great night at Olin College, all right? And we had some really sharp people in the student body, as well as we brought in some of the best folks from Bose, and I've done a lot of work for Bose in the past, and also from Boeing. We had some just phenomenal leaders there to talk about what are some of the secret questions and the things that they look for in the interview process. So in having the interview science, it's key to know these principles, key to know where you are in the process, and I can't recommend it enough. A lot of the folks were so excited in buying books and really got the philosophy. But also, too, I want some of the top interviewing people for engineering roles. They were becoming much more concerned nowadays about the humanity piece of things and how you thought and what made you great at doing these interviewing or engineering things when you were interviewing. So what was your thesis? What was your piece? You know, how did you come to this conclusion? Obviously, if you've done well, you're in school, you have a bright mind. They want to know more about your bright mind, your creativity, your energy, your thought processes. So if you get asked a question and you don't know the answer, but you know part of it, answer what you know. And don't try to spin it. Don't try to answer something you don't know. Know what you know. Don't know what you don't know. Okay? And know what you partially know. And tell them what you know. Okay? They really want to know, you know, if you know part of a concept and you put this, this, and this, then they'll listen to that. I might say, well, geez, they know these three things, okay, about this and that. The other thing is know who you're interviewing with before you go in. Know their specialties. And know for, in fact, if you go to somewhere like Bose, they're going to have some expert come in that's an expert in whatever it is you've studied, and they're going to ask you most likely about those things. Also, too, some companies, you may have gone and gotten your PhD and you're very proud of it. That's great, but they may want to practice what we call some ego deflation with you, okay? And they may want to say, hey, I don't care that you got a PhD. That's all nice and good. I want to know who you are, what matters to you. And we've had some people in some of the great companies come in, and when you tell them you don't care that they got the PhD after they worked as hard, they take it so offensively they can't finish the interview process. That's 50% of the people sometimes. So you need to get rid of your ego in the process and think about who you are as a human being, as a person, okay? What kind of a difference it is that you make in your creative thinking and what you bring to the game. It doesn't mean you don't study the technical questions, because you do. You better work hard and know everything you can, okay? But you also are going to be asked questions. They're going to want to know about your thought process. What makes you unique? What makes you work hard? They know you're sharp. They know you're good if you got a PhD. But your PhD is not your selling point. It's who are you as a thinker? What makes you better? What kind of thinking are you going to bring to this corporation that's better, more exciting, different, okay? We could call that a pet peeve, but I think more companies are moving towards the behavioral interview, the human interview, and as you all know about behavior interviewing, you know, the company has a great process that they've been using, a STAR interview process, situation, task, action, result. If you should study up on that. If you feel people asking you for specifics, they're going to want very specific answers sometimes of situations about what you did and what the task was and the action and the result. You need to prepare for that, okay? Because some companies are taking that on as an interview process to interview their candidates. Doesn't mean you can't use your results for the interview science, because that's great, because it aligns you with these other processes, gets you to be specific and hit all the buttons, because you need to know engineering, technology, whatever you're in, you need to get into people's insides where they feel you in the interview process and they know that you hit all the unconscious and conscious questions that they have to ask. So you need to know the secret questions behind the secret questions if you want to win, okay? So from a tech interview process standpoint, prepare. Also too, in technology and in engineering, what we're finding nowadays as well is they want to know about your hobbies. What did you do? You know, they had someone they hired at Bose, and obviously Bose, they do some incredible building of things over there. But one thing that was fantastic is one gentleman came from Northeastern, and he had been part of a car racing, a robotics thing, and built this car and done all these things and been doing it since high school. So they love the passion, the talent, and he showed very smart abilities at a young age. And that's what got him in the interview process along with his schooling, and that's what closed it, because he was gifted, he was smart, and they loved that part of him. So don't be afraid to list your extra hobbies, especially as they align with things, possibly to your career, even if they don't, because people like to see energy, initiative, excitement, some of the values portion, rather than just the knowledge and the technology is coming back. Also, gentlemen from Boeing talked about, geez, you know, we assume by the time someone gets to us, the managers, they've already been technically screened. So we want to find out who they are, what's their energy, what's their drive, how can they run up hills, what's the practice of their mind that they bring to things. Who are you as a person? Sometimes for an engineering or scientific or technology person, to have the first question in an interview be, so, who are you? You need to think about questions like that and talk about who are you personally, who are you from a business standpoint, a school standpoint. You've got to have a good answer for that. I've seen people ask that question, they've been like, huh? One of the top managers for Oracle used to look at people, if we met him casually for an interview or in print, he was like, so, hey, great to see you, how you doing? So, who are you? And some people would answer it, and a lot of people would be stumped. So keep in mind, that's one of the questions you're going to get. One of the other questions, too, one of my favorites, okay, that I ask and people ask is, listen, if I was to ask one of your references to give me the first 4 words that came to mind in beginning to describe you, what would they be? You want to think about that, or what would people say about you? How do people see you? If you can't answer that question, that's going to tell the manager, hey, nobody sees me very well, or I can't think of anybody seeing me well. You know, we go into like, not just how people see themselves, where people can bring up their own answers, but how do people see other people seeing them, okay? Also, too, another question I ask, and it's a tough question, is who's been your best mentor? Who's had the biggest impact on your life? You want to answer that specifically. Okay, people want to know that you can take direction, take coaching, take mentorship, build relationships, okay? That you're not someone that's so arrogant that you can't take any feedback or help from anybody, okay? Because you're going to need to take direction. You're going to need to take feedback, okay? People are also going to ask you, what's the time that you took feedback? What's the time you were wrong? People with egos or analytical mindsets hate to be wrong sometimes, okay? You want to be able to think about a time where you've been wrong or made a mistake and how you overcame that, how you were humbled by it. The people that have been the best sometimes have made more mistakes in trying out technology than they've made wins. You don't want to paint yourself as a failure, but you want to be able to paint your thinking process on how you were diagnostic, how you did things, and how you made things come together, okay? So I want to give you that piece today that's absolutely critical and important. So take that into your engineering interviews, and good luck. And remember, the person behind the desk, is well said by a very senior Bose leader, okay, is just as excited about you being there and fearful about making a good decision as you're fearful about being in the interview. So breathe, and remember, if they didn't think that you had something to offer, you wouldn't be there. They want to make a good hire too. So they're just as nervous about that process as you are, okay? And use the interview science principles. It's becoming a standard for what folks are doing out there today. It's an honor again to get this time to talk to you. Thank you again, and once again, no applause. We're going to take a break, okay?